Here we are at the exit 27 off of I-90 and we have a gate right up here that gives you access to the eastern end, northeastern end of Rattlesnake and the Raging River block. I just wanted to stop in here real quick and take a look at this exposed bedrock that we have here on the surface. It's quite unusual to find exposed bedrock on the surface, but here we have a really good example of basalt bedrock up here on the surface. This is also probably very similar to the same bedrock that Snoqualmie Falls flows over top of, which is just a few miles southwest of here. It's a Friday afternoon and everybody is out mountain biking and walking dogs and doing all kinds of outdoor stuff because it's so beautiful and we've been quarantined for so long now, and it's just such a beautiful day too. Glorious. So you can see here how this is weathering, freeze and thaw, cracks. You know, this was blasted through. You can see these vertical lines that are from the drilling and shooting of the rock. There's one right here. And you know, here's a little ant running around in there. There's ants in there. There's, you know, vegetation just creeping its way into each of these cracks and crevices. And we got, you know, large root here. And if you can imagine busting up, you know, this rock here, plants and what little soil they have are, you know, along with the microorganisms that are in there, are allowing those plants to live, you know, in this harsh environment, and by you know, helping them retain nutrients and water. I mean, obviously, or they wouldn't be here, you know. But it's not just the plants. There's a lot of microorganisms, as we're learning in class, that have great positive impacts on plants and plants' ability to live in harsh environments and also thrive in environments that are suitable for growing plants. But I just wanted to make a quick stop here, show you this exposed bedrock area, and then we'll get moving down the road. But I want to come over here across the street, show you that there's a stream, more of this exposed bedrock, and then, you know, as if this were a road cut, which it basically is, except it's bedrock, you've got now soil building up on top of this bedrock. Over time, bedrock is getting broken down, the soil is building, organic matter falling on top of that is building, and you eventually get, you know, a meter or so of soil on top of this bedrock. So kind of a good example of, you know, what we don't get to see too often is soil on top of our bedrock here, you know, especially in the Pacific Northwest with a lot of our glacial influenced soils. The bedrock has either been worn down or moved, or is so deep now below in the soil that it's very difficult to get all the way down to bedrock. But not here at exit 27 near our Raging River block. So one of the issues when you have exposed bedrock like we have here at exit 27 off of I-90, just as you're coming out of North Bend, up onto where I-90 and Highway 18 meet, is, you know, it creates these impervious surfaces, impermeable surfaces where water can't get through. And so you end up having a buildup of water, as you can see in this ditch that we're, you know, this is basically a bedrock ditch here that we do have alder growing out of and so forth, but and then we did have this nice little slide here, you can see. But it's a good example of when a little slide like this happens, you know, it can block up this area in this ditch, and so you're going to get water coming down here that's going to collect in there. It's not quite happening yet. It also gives us a great view of the surface soil that we're looking at, which is super thin up there. It's like moss, a little bit of A horizon, and then bedrock. You can see that cottonwood tree there just hanging on. And cottonwood, a water-loving species, typically have deeper tap roots that are going to be finding every crack and crevice in that rock to grow in, and then to also take up all that water. And so what's happened here, we've got a bedrock ditch that's basically basalt, and goes and starts to flood here. And so you can see in the alder and cottonwood are growing in there, but no forbs. It's all sedimentary soils, because this area is flooded several times, especially in the past couple of years, and has created this kind of little lake here. As it's almost like it's a miniature quarry. And there was a landslide upstream last year, and it exacerbated the situation that we have here and created this drainage issue. So now we have Washington Department of Transportation's come in and put in these Jersey barriers, and the creek above basically had a landslide that affected its trajectory, and it's come down now across the road here, as you can obviously see. It used to cut over there, and so now they've had to basically kind of create, this rock has been brought in, and they've created a kind of artificial stream bed, if you will, but it works. It's slowing down the rate of the water, which is good. Otherwise it would just keep cutting into these soils over here, which are definitely glacially influenced. You can see the round rock. This is native material here, round rock on top of the basalt, which isn't very deep. These angular rocks are not native material, although they could be from a rock pit very close by. But so, you know, every time we have a flood event, this area here is just inundated, and this is the Washington Department of Transportation owns the parking area there, and then this is Forest Service land here actually, so it's not on Department of Natural Resources land. However, you can see that this area has been flooded several times, and the creek has been blown out here. It used to go over there and into another culvert, but it changed directions here because of the flood and a slide that was above that washed all this material down into here. And you see a lot of this material, highly weathered, round rock, glacial material. You know, it's not round here in my hand because I'm breaking it apart, because it's fractured due to years and years and years of water, freeze and thaw. And so, but all this material was up there at some point until the landslide happened, which washed it down into here. And a lot of this material, you can imagine, was underground, you know, deep in the soil profile for thousands of years, decomposing, and now it's been brought to the surface basically from the landslide. And so a lot of those processes that it was undertaking, freeze thaw and hydrolysis, have been kind of put on fast forward or exacerbated due to them being on the surface now, because the temperature's warmer, there's more exposure to more water and more freeze thaw. More organisms are also now starting to work their way into the equation of the weathering process of this rock. And you can see it's very gray. The general color of this area is very gray because imagine you've got this bedrock here, not letting a lot of water percolate through, so the water table's pretty high, even in some of these forested areas. And so, you know, you've got this gray, silty, sandy material mixed in with a bunch of fist-sized cobbles, and that was the material that gave way upstream and is now here basically because of this landslide. And it's causing DOT a huge headache, and they're doing what they can to deal with the problem, but I'd imagine eventually they're going to have to cut out this road here and let the stream do its thing through the asphalt there. So it's going to have to get through there eventually.